So it is Maori Language Week. Again, we have it every year. It's fun. I enjoy it. I like hearing the Maori language spoken by people and in places we don't often hear it, like on the weather and on the news and radio station announcers speaking it as well. And the theme for this year's Maori language is A Kina Te Reo, which I understand basically means give it a crack.
Yeah, we're behind you all the way.
Have a go. Have a go. And I think that's a really, really interesting idea. I've long been an advocate that we should be attempting to speak Māori correctly, and I know that there is going to be some conjecture about the term correctly, especially when it comes to things like place names, but I often go back to I don't have any Māori ancestry in me, but I am a through and through New Zealander, which means the Māori story is a part of my story. If I live in this land, if this land is my home, it's my origin of birth, then the history of this land is a part of me.
I do agree, and I think for lots of us it's fear that stops us sometimes, which is why I'm going to say, Hei makariri a oti-puti e tēnā ata. It was very cold in Dunedin this morning.
It was pretty cold.
And that is the first time I've tried, and hopefully my accent's not too awful, because trying is what it's all about at Maori Language Week.
I think that's so accurate for so much, though. I mean, if you are an expert tennis player and a person who's never played tennis before gives it a go, you don't mock them.
You do secretly behind your hand,
well, yeah,
maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you encourage them and you say, give it a go, keep going, keep trying. It's really no different. I'm a fairly recent migrant to Dunedin.
That's right.
A couple of years behind the Octagon, if we can put it that way. I'm interested in Dunedin, Otago, and how we look at the Maori language, especially when it comes to place names. So I was on a little story. When we first came here, we did a bunch of the touristy things to learn where we were living a bit better. I got on the Tairi Plains Railway, went out and had a look through Middlemarch and all that area, and the announcer came over and told us the story of Wingatui. Now, the story of Wingatui and how it was named is by a man called William Stevenson. William Stevenson apparently was out shooting and he shot a bird, tui, and he winged it. And he went, I winged a tui. I'm going to call this place Wingatui. And with the greatest respect to the story, my BS meter went off. Because I went, that just doesn't sound quite right. So I went home and I did a little bit of research. And what I found was a fantastic article on record that we'll put in the description of this video from 1896 in the Otago Daily Times by a gentleman called Vincent Pykes, I think it was, Vincent Pykes. Vincent Pykes was a European, and he was investigating the origins of the word Wingatui, because he thought himself, this doesn't sound quite right. Now you can go into and have a look in the description, the link will be there, but let me give you a little part of what he found out, right? This is from 1896, a European asking the same question. He said, but I received a letter from a gentleman well versed in the Maori tongue, which sets forth the old name thus, and you love the language, a native from Henley tells me that the place where formerly a forest grew was known to old Māoris as Wingatui, a dividing or separating of tui birds. So it's fairly obvious that if in 1896 they acknowledged it was called Wingatui, that's probably the origins of the name Wingatui.
Yeah.
In this article, he goes on to explain. Now, no disrespect to people with this comment. This is not my comment. This is a quote from Vincent Pykes in 1896. He says, quote, the Maori language was sadly mutilated by early settlers. And he points out other place names that unfortunately, in his opinion, were wrong in 1896 and are still wrong today, including Otago, which means red earth, and of course became Otago. Waihora, which means spreading water, which became Waihola. Wingatui, obviously, which apparently became Winatui, W-E-N-A-T-U-I, and then became Wingatui. And there's other ones as well that he doesn't talk about, but one I found recently was the suburb Wakari, which actually, the hill behind it, which we call Flagstaff, Māori call it Whakari, W-H-A-K-A-R-I. So that's probably the origins of it. It could be more
different, really.
Yeah.
We make a huge point of getting people's names right, don't we? Because it's terribly offensive if you don't. And I don't think that place names are such a stretch. So we can all make a better... Language is a continuum and things do change, but we can all make an effort to get place names right, I think.
And I think when it's our culture, our ethnic culture, we do our best. And I'll give you one more little example. There was a really good example at the beginning of this year. Again, it was in the ODT. Professor Liam McElveny, who was the Stewart Chair in Scottish Studies at the University of Otago, put up a bit of a stink because there is a street name in Mosgiel spelt incorrectly, but it's within the Scottish ancestry. And apparently there was a lot of information going around that this is wrong, it's spelt wrong, it's not right, it relates to Robert Burns, it should be right, and it was wrong. And this is what he said. Remember, this is about the Scottish culture, not the Maori culture. He says this: This comes down to a basic question of cultural respect. If we are serious about respecting and valuing the various cultures that contribute to contemporary New Zealand, then we might need to get these things right. Now, stop for a second thinking about the Scottish culture and now think about the Maori culture that's been here for another 800 years. And I would say, in my humble opinion, the argument still fits well with getting it right.
Ka pai.
Give it a go. That's all you got to do. Give it a go.